everyone, welcome to my channel, Hysteria Projects. I hope you're doing well, having a beautiful day. These are general messages. Take what resonates and leave the rest behind, okay? The general energy of this message is the soul compass. It says intuition, direction, surrender. Let your peace be the map. Okay, so that is the underlying energy here, is following your peace. Okay, following your intuition, that inner compass. So let's go from there. We have roots remembered, ancestry, grounding, memory. The earth never forgot your name. I feel like there is a lot to do with your family, a lot to do with maybe your environment growing up, even currently, there was a lot of healing. Okay, the way that this is coming through is that because you have been healing, because you have been remembering who you are at your core, you're receiving some blessings, and this is blessings surrounding your home life, surrounding your idea of family even. I feel like this goes really deep. This is very deeply rooted. You have warm surrender, acceptance, trust, relief. You don't fall apart, you fall into yourself. And as I was saying a second ago about, you remembering who you are at your core. You don't fall apart, you fall into yourself. Now, you could be doing something in the public eye. You could be an influencer. If not an influencer, you could just be in some sort of position where people see you, and people really are kind of tuned in here to what you're doing and where you're headed. And there's this surrendering here that is trusting the flow, trusting your divine flow, your divine guidance, allowing things to fall apart for better things to fall together. There's this sense of grace about you that is very beautiful. It says, rest restores your light, renewal, softness, soul. Your light grows when you allow yourself to slow. And that feels like there's been a lot of times in your life where you felt like you didn't have direction. You couldn't hear that divine guidance. You couldn't hear that intuition. And it's like there was so much noise. You were so busy and so occupied doing so many different things that it tuned it all out. You couldn't hear it. It's like you had to slow down. You had to find stillness and find silence and some peace here, for you to hear that voice, for you to be able to tap back into that intuition, to be able to hear what it was saying to you, what it was calling you towards. So you needing rest, you taking that time to slow down, it's very needed, it's very necessary. And it does have this energy behind it where like there is that sense of like restlessness, like you almost feel guilty for resting, like if there's things that can be done, you should be doing them, right? But we need to have a better understanding of resting for ourselves, resting for our mental peace. You know, there's this level of mental rest that you're allowing now that has really changed the direction, I'm going to say, of a lot of things in your life. Let me pull one more. We have breath of the divine, spirit, presence, connection. Every inhale whispers, you belong. I'm getting here that you are divinely connected, okay? You are. And the way that you're listening to your intuition, the way that you literally are, walking through life, feeling that connection, feeling that sense of belonging, you are it's like, it's a weird way to word this. It's like you are cuffed to source. That's a really weird way to word that. But you're so close, and you're locked in as well. So maybe that's where that cuffed part comes in, like you are locked in with the divine. You are so open that you literally can feel the divine with every breath that you take. You have this sense of purpose about you. That direction had been leading you to a sense of purpose. And I, for one, it's just my personal opinion, but I don't believe that we have just one purpose. I feel like our purpose is ever changing just as we are. And that's why growth is nonstop. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion here. But you following this divine direction has been leading you to your purpose and has been returning you back to yourself. Finding yourself again. It's like you had to find yourself again to be able to hear source again. Let's pull a little bit of tarot. You could have had a lot to heal from childhood. There even could have been this feeling of abandonment. We have the Page of Wands and the Hierophant. This is celebrating God, celebrating source, celebrating your ancestors. And I feel like this is you. This is your energy here. You're so thankful. You're thankful for the blessings that you have received. And one of these blessings that you received here, with this wand energy, it's giving off, spark of passion, spark of creativity, spark of life. It's like the divine brought the life back to you. That's too much. Okay. With this Three of Swords, we have the Four of Wands and the Star here. You went through some tremendous loss. You did. You've gone through some very difficult times. And some of these things that you went through could have been very public. Very public. People just watching you fall apart. But those same people watching you fall apart are also watching you fall back into yourself. You never gave up hope. You never gave up hope for this family, this belonging, this happiness, this celebration here, this warmth. Warm surrender. You never gave up hope here. And that hope is honestly what helped lead you to you finding yourself and finding source and accepting. So much of our healing starts with acceptance, and a lot of times acceptance is the hardest part. It really is. But you went through that process and you accepted this heartbreak. And you trust in the divine here that, there is hope. There is hope for you to have that love again. To have that family, that nurturing. And I say again, but for some of you, for the very first time, you haven't given up that hope. And you have changed so much. You really have. Look at this. This is huge. Absolutely huge. There's that Ace of Wands. You are somebody that, look, Knight of Swords. You are somebody that really does get a lot of things done, okay? You really do. You are active. It's giving very active. Okay. Yeah, so this is wanting to remind you here that because you are so active, because you do so much, and you do have a lot going on, you're somebody that just stays busy, okay? You have this spark, you have this passion inside, you want to get as much living as you can and in the time you're awake, you know what I'm saying? And get as much done as you can. In the moments where you're starting to feel depleted, and in the moments where, it's this passion and this happiness and this love is fleeting, know that you need to restore yourself. You need to slow down. It says your light grows when you allow yourself to slow, okay? And this is a beautiful light here. And then there's a lot of love here. And this is you being passionate. But this is also you doing a lot, okay? So when you start to feel this depletion, when you start to feel like it's fleeting, take that time to rest. It's okay. It's so necessary, don't feel guilty about resting. Oh, this is what I meant to say earlier and I blinked. I was going to say a second ago, it's one thing if, we are sitting on the couch, okay, and we're taking, 2 hours to ourselves to just be couch potatoes and watch TV and eat snacks and whatever, right? That's fine. It's fine to just do that in general, okay? I'm all about it. But what I'm saying here is that the type of rest, that Spirit is talking about here is not the kind of rest where you're sitting on the couch for a couple hours, you're spinning your wheels about how you should be doing this, you should be doing that, and ultimately, the entire time that you're resting, your mind is in overdrive and you're beating yourself up for it. That's not rest. That's not slowing down. When Spirit is talking about this rest, the Spirit is talking about, resting your mind, resting your heart, taking that space, okay, in your very, very busy life to just, doesn't have to be a couple hours. This could be 10 minutes, doesn't even have to be that long, all right? Take a moment to not focus on everything that's going on and look inward, focus on yourself. Do a wellness check on yourself for a second, focus on what your intuition says. Focus on just finding that peace and calming things down within your energy. That is the kind of rest that is going to restore your light, okay? That is the kind of rest that is going to, amplify the sound of your intuition when you get a little bit too busy, okay? And I feel like you get the point. So let's move on. Breath of the Divine here. It says every inhale whispers you belong. We have the Tower moment that comes out. And with this particular Tower moment, I do love this card. This particular Tower moment, there is a lot of beauty in this card. There's a lot of transformation, all these butterflies, these lightning bolts, it's clarity, it's transformation, there's growth here. There's curiosity here. I feel like this is a beautiful Tower moment. A beautiful change. Beautiful clarity. And the Divine has blessed you with these things. It says, in every inhale whispers you belong. And you have this sense of clarity. You have this understanding that these Tower moments that you go through, they're meant to transform. They're meant to bring clarity. They're meant to grow. They're meant to reflect and to learn. They're meant to allow better, more stable things to come in. And one more, please. Now, you could do something that's spiritual related, not necessarily, but you could, okay? What I'm getting, though, here is that this investment that you made into yourself, this investment that you made into, seeking more deeper answers and going through a transformation, okay? This investment has been a breath of fresh air to you. That it's like this is allowing you to have a new chance at life, okay? One that starts off you know, really, really rooted in your connection with Source. Very rooted. Let's pull a final message. I have hesitation here. And the reason why I have hesitation here is because I feel like there's something that Spirit is wanting to say, something else. So let me grab from this deck, because we had the roots and card come out, and here, let me just pull from this. This is the one that I saw. So I feel like there's something else Spirit is wanting to say, though, other than, you know, take a moment to actually, like, relax. Spirit, what is it that you're wanting to say? Oh, okay. All right, so 3 came out. All right, we have goal. Set clear goals and move forward with courage. Patience. Beautiful things take time. Let yourself grow stronger in waiting. And then deep connection. Find bonds of support and love in intimate relationships and family. Okay. Now I can pull a final message. This will be a spirit message, so. Final message, please. It says, if you find yourself stuck in a situation you are unhappy with, ask yourself, why are you still there? Is it fear of the unknown? Leaving toxic situations or people can be the best thing you can do for your soul and for your spirit. Be fierce. And then, your life is about to start moving quickly in some areas. Events that seem to have been on hold suddenly propel forward. Move with the flow and be mindful of what needs your attention most. Make decisions rationally but sensibly. You are so connected to Source. You have a deep, deep connection to Source, okay? To clarity. I hope this message helped you. And until next time, bye.